Hi, for those of you that know me, my name is Alan Kennedy of Time, Team and Money Coaching, and I'm going to talk to you today about a Facebook post I posted the other day where I suggested that an accountant might like to organise their practice in such a way that they could go skiing in January. It has produced a whole load of abuse from the accountancy fraternity, so I thought I would just do a quick video for you on how you can go skiing in January if you're a general practice accountant. I'm going to share my screen now for you. I hope that's okay. And off we go. Lovely. So, how do you go skiing in January? Here's some top tips for you. If I can get everything to work. There we go. Number one top tip is to plan. I remember speaking with an accountant once, and he used to do every set of accounts within 30 days. He used to schedule a time when he wanted the accounts to be done. He got the client to bring the books and records in on time. And just occasionally, when he needed new work in, he used to do it in 31 days for the client that he described as the most gobby in the practice. And that client would typically go around the whole town, tell everyone how wonderful he was, and then he would get a shed load of referrals. So what do you have to do? You have to get your spreadsheets out, plan when the work's going to come in, and tell the client when the work is going to come in. So then everyone knows where they stand. That's top tip number one, have a good plan. I would say you also need to measure the plan against your actuality, because if, for example, if I had in one firm I helped, the manager got behind, you then need to be able to spot that early rather than later. You need to get the client agreement to the concept of doing the accounts early. And clients will only do accounts early if they see the benefit to them. Because when, for example, I had the other week a client who was trying to land a big contract, he had a choice. He could either write up his accounting records or land a big contract, which you think came first. So there's two real reasons why people want their accounts done early. One is it allows them to plan ahead with things like tax liabilities, and the other is it allows you, the accountant, to spot errors more quickly. So if, for example, he's made an error on his VAT calculations, used the wrong way to VAT, something like that, you're more likely to pick it up at a time which is more convenient to him the sooner you spot it, so you don't have to correct errors of up £10,000, for example. So that's why clients want to do it, and you explain to them as well that if every client left their accounts to the last moment, then it would be chaotic in January and no one would get good service, and neither of you wanted that. So you've got to get the client buy into that, and you've got to say, are you interested in that? You might want to threaten him with increased fees if he wants the privilege of bringing the accounts in late, but that's between you and the client. Okay, which leads me on to, you do need some penalties. Well, the main, you could raise a penalty of a fee, raise the fees as a penalty. That's one way of doing it. It shows your displeasure with the client, but it does tend to upset the client relationship. Much better is that you emphasize the plus points of doing the accounts early, such as spotting the mistakes, allowing him to take good decisions, etc. And you need to price properly. Our experience of firms who price too cheaply is they end up getting very busy, but they don't actually do the work properly. And in the words of one accountant I knew quite well, the pain of a high price is forgotten long after the pain of a poor service is remembered. So I think we're up to about top tip number 5 is weed the clients. Those clients who decide that life is more important than bringing their books and records in on time, you don't have to act for them. And over a period of time, you can gradually weed out those clients who consider it's no need to do accounts properly, accounting records properly. It just saves a lot of time and hassle for you, and someone else can have the privilege of dealing with them. You need to generate good marketing streams. Why? Because you can't really weed clients if you haven't got people coming in the top end to replace them. And we do a whole training session on weeding clients and generating marketing streams. So if you want more of that, do give me a call. But you need lots of work coming in. Best way of doing that is asking for referrals. So when you've done the accounts really quickly, say to the client, do you appreciate the accounts being done quickly? They'll usually reply yes. And then say, well, if you know of anyone else who wants similar good quality service, do let them know about us. You need staff rewards and sanctions. You need to make it clear that you expect staff to help you with this task. And I would publish the results of where you are relative to your 31st year deadline so everyone can see what's going on. One of the reasons for this is because very often staff will do things like they'll leave queries for you as a partner or director to solve, because if they leave a difficult area for you, they run less risk. So you need to train them to try and phone up the client and say, we got this issue, what do you think? And you need to empower them to answer some of your questions, and others you need to teach them ones you don't want asked by the staff. Probably things like if there's cash going through in a business which isn't recorded, you might want to leave that for you to discuss with the client because it's slightly higher risk. And you need to manage partner percentages. Typically in a firm of accountants with, say, 300 clients per partner, that gives the average partner somewhere between 3 and 4 hours per client to deal with their affairs. Well, if 1 hour of that is planning a job and briefing the staff, 1 hour is reviewing the file, an hour is speaking to the client, and an hour is collecting the fee. If someone takes up a lot of your time, it doesn't leave you much for the next client. So I would suggest you measure these. And one of the factors which will determine whether a client stays with you is how much time they use up of it as the partner or director time. So this seems a bit self-evident, but the temptation to take on work is enormous. It always has been, it always will be. I remember on the ethical checklist, it always used to say, question number 1 is, have you got capacity? I've never known an accountant ask that question. But it does lead to total chaos in December and January when you get clients phoning you up saying, I'm terribly sorry, I haven't done my CAT return, can you help? And we love to help them, but in the long term, that's not necessarily a good idea for you and your practice or your blood pressure. And there's an elf who is busy taking on work in December. Thank you to my wife for these lovely slides. And lastly, I would say book the holiday in advance. If you book January skiing holiday in April, you can tell all the clients that if they don't get their accounts in by, say, 14th of January, then they're not going to get them done. And that tells everyone where they stand, and then they can't whinge when you go skiing in January. So do book your January skiing holidays now for next year, if not this year, and have fun on the slopes. If you don't like skiing, I've got all sorts of other ideas of what you can do in January, which is more interesting and exciting, doing accounts just before the deadline. That's me, Alan Kennedy of Time, Team and Money. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I'm going to end the recording now.